Good morning and welcome to Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. In India, we find a very strange phenomenon, and there's a disconnect between the Hindus and Sikhs. People have started forgetting that Sikhism, a reformist and more militaristic aspect of Hinduism, has its roots in Hindu culture and tradition. As a matter of fact, a reading of the Holy Book of Sikhs, the Guru Granth Sahib, is replete with references to Prahlad, Krishna, Ram, Shiv. Sikh prayer starts with devotion and homage to Bhagavati and so on. But the most palpable effect is what I call Krishna effect, and that's most visible on the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, who was the person who made a clean break. I won't call it clean break, but a clear break between Hinduism and Sikhism, setting up Khalsa, the pure aspect of Hindus, which was the military of Hindus, and that started the new religion. There's a comment by Singh Jaspal. How would you relate the commonality between the two? For me, Krishna stays a darling deity, where Guru Gobind Singh is an ideal who achieved everything of life and gave it back. Yes, you are right, Mr. Jaspal. Krishna is a darling deity, but it's not a darling the way the Bollywood stars are, the Hollywood stars are. It is not a rock star. Krishna also has a great philosophical edge, and it's that which I'm talking about. And I fully agree with you. Gobind Singh is an ideal who achieved everything and gave it back, of course. But then so did Krishna. As a matter of this commonality between the two is evident from the word go. Do you know Gobind is the second name of Krishna. Krishna is also called Govinda. So the name is a similarity of the names. And Krishna was called Govinda because he was a cowherd. Go is cow. So man who was taking care of the cow was Govinda. And Gobind Singh was Gobind Rai. Now Gobind is a Punjabized form of Govind. So right from the word go, their name, there is a commonality. Now, what is that which binds them together? Is it is a philosophy and is the attributes. Again, there's another comment by Singh Jaspal. Krishna is supposed to be Solan Karam Bharpur, full of 16 attributes. Arts. Kala is a curious word. In Sanskrit, it used to mean time, but broadly it means an attribute. And let me tell you, Mr. Singh, that if Krishna has 16 attributes, so has Gobind Singh, as I'll show you just now. I was referring to the 16 Kala. Basically, the phase of mood. Kala is a vast subject, and I should actually take it up in a different comment, in a different episode altogether. But here I'll come basically to the relevant thing. The 16 Kala are referred to the 16 phases of the moon, and more specifically in this context as a siddhi, our ability. The supreme elements are born in a human being who is upgraded to avatar. Do you know while Krishna has 16 kala or attributes, Ramayana has 12 only. Rama. Lord Rama, who is supposed to be the paragon of virtue and is in fact precursor as a representation of Vishnu, has only 12, and Buddha has only 10. So, what are those? Krishna's attributes: compassion is first, patience, forgiveness, justice, impartiality, detachment, meditation and spiritual powers, invincibility, bestower of wealth in the world and nature, then beauty of the incarnate, best of the dancers, best of singers, embodiment of honesty, truth itself, truth incarnate, embodiment of all arts as poetry, drama, painting, and Sarvanant, the controller of all the 16 kalas, is that. Now, Gobind Singh has the same attributes. You talk of compassion, even when he killed people, they say his arrows used to have a nugget of gold so that the people can take care of the person. And he forgave people who even betrayed him. The story of the 40 Muktas in Mugassar who died later on, came back, is proverbial. He had extreme patience. He could forgive his enemies. And he believed in inherently impartial and believed in justice and detachment. Imagine detachment to the extent that he could ask his father to go and sacrifice. And not only that, he could sacrifice his sons. Can there be a further example of detachment and embodiment of honesty? Of course, he was. Truth, he was. And poetry, drama, and painting. There's not a better poet and a better scholar in the modern times than Gobind Singh was, of the contemporary times. So they had, and then compassion, look at it. His prompting of Bhai Kanhaiya to apply the ointment even to the enemies and give them water. And the Zafarnama is a clear indication that even when defeated, he considered that a real victory, a moral victory. And that's why Zafarnama was written. So the 16 attributes that are given to Krishna are automatically ipso facto applicable to Gobind Singh. So the commonality is established right from the word Gobind, which is common to both, to the basic characteristics of the individuals, the best of the mankind in their own times. Now, people have been saying a lot about their divergence. There has been no divergence. Now, let's be very clear. Both fought for truth and both fought for justice. On the one side, Krishna was always saying his fight in Mahabharata is the fight for dharma. He fought against adharma. Adharma is anti-religious, if not irreligious. Dharma is religion. And not only religion per se, the way it's perceived in English, dharma is it's much more eclectic word. So and Gobind Singh wrote very clearly, "Jo lade deen ke het sura sui." A man who fights for his faith, for his principles, is a real warrior. And now let's come to the reality. The 10th Guru, the Guru Gobind Singh, has written complete book, Dasam Granth, a compendium of poems. And there is in that a section called Chobis Avatar. This is the seventh Bani in the Dasam Avatar, Dasam Granth. And the 24 Avatar is a collection of tales of the 24 incarnation of God Vishnu. And this 24 Avatar is a part of Vichitra Natak. The complete work contains a total of 4,371 verses. And out of that, a large number, more than 75%, 3,356, are devoted to Ram and Krishna. The shortest is Buddha Avatar, longest is Krishna Avatar. Krishna Avatar is 2,492 verses of 4 lines each. They are quatrains. Now imagine out of 4,371, 2,492 are devoted to Krishna. Now, doesn't that show the dedication of Gobind Singh to the concept, the principles, the attitudes of Krishna? The entire chapter is very narrative and speaks of dharma as protected by the Almighty, which has occurred in the various eras, covering Krishna in his own era. And as a matter of fact, they are forms of the life and the martial skills. Shastra Vidya, which is mentioned there, has again been adopted by Gobind Singh. The Shastra Vidya, which is mentioned in this 24 Saptah, is taken from the arms used by Krishna, whether it was his chakra, Sudarshan chakra, or the arrows that he specialized in, Brahmastras. So it's there. So whether it's a philosophy, whether it's compassion, whether it's justice, whether it's fight for truth, honesty, invincibility, that is there. Now, then the strategy adopted by both is identical. You remember when Jadath was fighting, Krishna for some time eclipsed the sun to show that the truth has to win. Gobind Singh used his own way when he was asked to leave Chamkaur and he was promised that he would not be molested. He sent garbage, showing it to be the treasures of Gobind Singh, and they were looted. So that showed the real instinct, and this was exactly what Krishna used to do. The strategy to expose. We talk of the art of war, but the art of war perfected in moralistic tones by Krishna and practiced in Mahabharata and then repeated in the wars of Gobind Singh against Mughals clearly shows the preponderant similarity. And of them, both of them are rooted in the highest truth, Ekamkar, Ekonkar in six, and Ek Omkara, the Vedic Upanishad. Now, even the similarities, I need not mention that Guru Granth starts with Ek Onkar, goes on Satnam Kartapur, God is one, He is true, He is the doer. Now, this is only in Krishna and the Gobind Singh. They are the doers, achievers, not only talkers. While most of the religious leaders gave directions but did not do, they were not performers. But Gobind Singh was a performer, and so was Krishna. The killing of Shishupal, for example, was a clear act of performance after compassion. Then both of them interpreted Upanishads for specific set of circumstances. And those circumstances did change because there were different eras. Krishna had to reiterate the wisdom of Upanishad to remind Arjuna about his dharma. And Gobind Singh reinterpreted the high intellectual abstract knowledge of Upanishads in a prescripted form that people, ordinary people, without knowledge, without philosophical credo, could understand it. And then, Gobind Singh talks of God as Asur Shangar, destroyer of demons. In the hymn of Gurus, we see God applying the necessary corrective to a series of demigods and destroying the demons to save his saints. This led to evolving the common mass of the Indian nation for the doctrine of Dharma Yudh. So both Krishna and Gobind Singh talked of Dharma Yudh, fight for a right, waging war, a righteous war against the forces of evil, forces of darkness, tyranny, and oppression. And Zafarnama, if you have read, you would find, is a reiteration of that when Gobind Singh calls upon Aurangzeb to say that don't be elated on the temporary victory that you have, but the real victory is mine. And so much impressed was Aurangzeb by this. And as a matter of fact, in the annals of the human history, if one set of poems is to be set aside as a celebration of the victory of righteousness over wrong, it would be Zafarnama. So this concept, and then Guru Gobind Singh didn't deviate from them. He brought to culmination the salient features of the philosophy, and they are in tune with teaching of humanism and strict monotheism. So there's no doubt about his attitude to the heroes of the parallel epic poetry. And the creation, I think it goes to the credit of Gobind Singh that the climax of creating a section of people, Khalsa, always armed with kirpan. Now, kirpan is a symbol of sovereignty. Out of the lot of slaves ruined the demoralized people, not only for their personal interest, but for the pride of others. Now, some people say that, look here, both were promiscuous. Krishna had 8 principal wives and 1,100 junior wives. And those junior wives were basically, they were accepted as wives because otherwise society would have seen them as slaves of the killed demon king Narksura. But then 8 wives he had. Gobind Singh had 4 wives. The people, devout Sikhs would say that he had 3 wives, but no. The reality is that Gobind Singh had Ajit Kaur, Jito, Sundar, Mata, and Sundri, and Sahib Kaur. So in Mahabharata, Krishna says that he came to the earth to destroy evil. So does Gobind Singh say in the Samgram, page 57. I came to the world charged the duty to uphold the right and destroy the wicked and the evil. My birth is to see that the righteousness may flourish, that the good may live and the tyrant be torn up by their roots. And this is exactly what Krishna said and did when he said, I'm the creator, I'm the destroyer, I'm the past, I'm the present, and I'm the future. This was what Gobind Singh put in practice: destruction of the evil and protection of the pure. In the most disputed verse of the Samgram is Pakshan Charitra, and they are the tales of the bravery, devotion, intelligence, deceitfulness, and unscrupulousness of men and women. But the most important thing is that the veneration for the women, which was when Krishna protected Draupadi, and the story of Queen of Holland, which is described in chapter 331, who won the war when the mighty army of the British attacked her weak kingdom. The parallels, are too many to be commented on. And that's why I say that the Krishna effect was so dominant on Gobind Singh that you can almost say that they were alter ego of each other. They were replicas in different eras. So some differences might be there, but intellectually, philosophically, morally, ethically, they are the same, identical, similar. And the people who say that there are differences in the two are mistaken, or they have their own axe to grind. Krishna, the embodiment of fighting for the truth, is Gobind Singh fighting the slave drivers, the cruel, brutal destroyers of humanity in the shape of Mughal emperors. They are the saviors of the mankind. And as long as Krishna reflected in Gobind Singh, or Gobind Singh receiving and showing the success of Krishna's philosophy, these two examples would always remind people that hope is never lost, that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.